Sign up now at elevate.miami.edu for my course, Organized Rhyme. Looking at the word legacy, while involving some wordplay, I'll use the first syllable to build upon. We'll use the first syllable, leg. For the second syllable, we'll use an. And for the third syllable, we'll use the word knee. So now we have leg and knee. Can we use it in context with legacy? Let's just see. Wordsworth Productions with a S.com for all merch. I got 2 books available right now. What Words Are Worth Volume 1, and I also have a children's book called Socks. Age range from 12 to 15, so it's kind of like the middle school and high school age range, but adults can read it as well. This is a special guest. He's done a lot of amazing things. So welcome to the stage, Scott Carter, Triangle Park Music. What's up?
What's going on, man? How you been?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Watching you do things, staying motivated.
Hey, it's all about working, man. Just be consistent. Try to be consistent. Yeah.
Yo, so man, I met you through our Philadelphia clique, got range,
Yeah.
Gate, and everything. So you always been like just like the type of person that was just musically inclined. You could do the instruments, you could do everything and stuff like that, everything, man. So, it's always been dope.
Try to do it all.
Yeah, man. So it's always been dope working with you. So my podcast is about songwriting. That's it. So I'm going to ask you a lot of stuff just about songwriting and kind of how we get to where you are with your ideas and how it kind of comes to you working with everybody else and creating dope records and hit records.
Okay.
Cool,
yeah,
man.
That's dope. That's dope. We need to have more podcasts like this.
I'm trying, man. So I try to interview everybody about that, man. So the first thing is like kind of introducing the Triangle Park Music. What is Triangle Park Music, and the name? Where'd you get it from?
Triangle Park Music is a production team and collective. We have multiple associate producers underneath us. A girl made this is one of her names, Nettie. A girl made this is her handle, and we just signed Don. Terrell McDuffie, he's from Philly as well. Musician, keyboard player. We have another producer in Philly now named Venom Beast, but more based out here in LA. And pretty much the name came from a truth. I just grew up in front of a Triangle Park, so it's literally like. And when I started out in Virginia, I was born in Virginia, so. Every time I got inspiration, it was like, I would play the piano and look out the window and there's a Triangle Park in front of me. So I was like, that's the best way to come up with something, a name for, for an actual team. It's like, or a company. I'm like, we might as well just say Triangle Park, And,
it's natural. It's something that has a story attached to it too. So that's always good. So as you started making music, how did you learn like the difference between just being a producer versus a beat maker? So what's the difference? Because I've seen this on Facebook the other day. People are upset about Dr. Dre being the best producer, right? I got that, and it was like, yo, Primo. People had their Primo. I guess what was it, Billboard or something, like nominated Dr. Dre best producer, some of all time, something like that. But I kind of was just saying like I like Primo too. But I understand there's differences here, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Primo is definitely a premier, as it's called, a premier like beat maker producer. Like, so composing is one thing, and which is the putting together of a track, which is like the music, the drums, coming up with something that's like special, that's a bed for somebody to get on top of, like a writer or artist to get on top of and do their creative work, creative work and collaboration. A producer is more of a producer actually doesn't really have to actually make a beat,
Right.
So it's putting together people and creatives together to create something and being in charge of that product. That's the thing. It's like you are now responsible for whether it goes gold, platinum, or it goes wood. You are the you're the responsible party. So a label engages in you. You can literally be a writer and be a producer. So it's putting together musicians, writers, getting the actual studio together, bringing in the interns that need to be there, you know, and helping the creative process go from inception to the end, and actually making sure that it's a final product, even if you have to mix it yourself, finding the engineer that can do it. So it's literally the whole entire process. You are at the forefront of that. You are the leader for that. And so as a producer, you're overall arcing, like I would say you're like a manager of a record or
Yeah.
records, you know. As a beat maker, you are one of the team members on that production, you know, as a composer, as somebody but you're not responsible for the end result. And that's what a producer is, responsible in guiding the ship to the final shore. Or,
Right.
you know, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw that argument happening, and of course I haven't been in the studio with Premier, but I'm sure Premier makes sure the cuts and I'm sure he does his production style,
Yeah.
he does his, and then
Yeah.
Dre has his production style. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to get clarification on it because sometimes you just get a beat from somebody.
Yep.
And then you write and do your thing, and then you get it mixed, mastered. They never see it again. So they're not like
Yeah.
they're not, really producing it. That's
Producing, yeah, exactly.
what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
And um
So,
and it depends on what leverage you have, because, you know, if you've been a producer for a while and you make a beat and then somebody grabs that beat, you know, and does something with it, then there's the gray area, which is like, well, I've already been a producer for a long period of time, so
right,
I put this work in. So what you got is a sonic work from me that has been thousands of hours of me being a producer. So I garner that, you know, that moniker, even if I didn't see it all the way through. And that's leverage. That's what we call
yeah,
leverage.
okay.
Yeah.
So drums, we do drums first, sample first, instrumentation first, and then drums. Because I've
This is a
heard
good
different
question. It's a good
angles.
question. For me, it depends, because I'm a producer, so I like to tailor the record to the artist.
Yeah,
So if it calls for drums first, then I'm going to do drums first. If it's an up tempo record and I want somebody to groove, I'm going to start with the drums. If it's something that's you know, I'm just trying to feel my way into it, and I'm going to pretty much go from a sample vibe first. I like the sample, period. So even if it's me making the sample, something I've done before, or me finding something that has been made before, we call it borrowing. Uh, yeah. So, and which always is a great way to start off if you are trying to make something that multiple people will like, you
right,
know, and so that's what, you know, starting off with the sample. Then the sample might be a beat. So it depends upon like what result you're trying to get. So I like kind of move from that position of like, oh, what result do I want to get, and what result does the artist want to get, and we kind of move from there. Because sometimes it's just like, oh, let's just go creatively and start with, like, you know, start with a bell. You know, it's
right.
like it's whatever whatever road we're trying to go down to get to the final, you know, final thing, the end, yeah, the end of where that ship is going to land. So
Yeah,
yeah.
because I've also, a lot of these things, the questions I have are typically because listening and watching people discuss things just kind of on a personal level what they like. But like you said, there's so many avenues you could go down with this. So how about do you like the beats nowadays? There's some beats with no drums, it's just right the loop and then they out,
Yeah,
How do you feel about that?
there's actually
Yeah.
a record. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I mean, it's actually a record I worked on. I had to do a remix for it. It was Ray Vaughn and Pusha T, and the original was just a loop. and it just was a sample loop, and we were brought in to like put drums on it to make a remix from it. So and the original was great. It created a vibe. I was like, oh, this is good. It's and actually it's kind of shows lyrical prowess and being able to pocketing and being able to pocket without anything tempo wise, with just like, oh, the bass is giving the tempo. It's not. It's like I'm like that's super creative. I definitely come from the era of more of the drums would be in it.
Right.
Which like Primo was crazy with the joint, to Timbaland, all of So but I like it. I mean, I like the difference. I like the creativity. It's awesome to see that. And then those are sometimes you want to hear that that kind of a feel. Sometimes you want to just hear the lyrics more, and get into it, into the poetry of it. Sometimes
so
you just want to bob your head. So
being that, like, how you explain that, it leads to me thinking like, all right, you have your personal taste and you've been around, like I've been around. We've seen a lot of different iterations of hip hop styles and all that. Being a producer is like, if somebody walks in a restaurant, you're the chef to whatever that person likes, right? Pretty much, right?
You're the chef. I like to say I'm a tailor. So it's like you coming in, I'm trying to create the right suit for you, and it's like, where would you like to go? Where do you want to go? What event are you going to?
Right.
Are we going to church? Are we going to the Grammys? What are we doing? And so having that information gives me more of a clear path to a good result.
So then how do you decide like to scrap a beat or keep it for later? Like you got a folder of, because there's a lot of times you might be like,
a lot of folders.
You'll be like, yo, this is terrible. Somebody come in and listen to it and they be like, yo, that's fire. How you handle that?
That's the interesting thing. Because okay, so I believe that there's a place for everything. There's a home for every beat. So working on records, say I'm trying to target Beyonce.
Yeah.
I know that there is a narrow window for the Beyonce, but I know that there's a lot of artists out there that want a Beyonce type record. So me going in for that, I know I'm going to be creative enough because I want to win on it. And those records are going to come out as a top tier. And I'll be able to have a folder, and so another, independent artist or another artist might hear the record and be like, I want that one. So I don't think there's like, I try not to make anything that's terrible, but sometimes you get, okay, so sometimes you get down the road and you're in the middle of the road. You're like, there's a fork. There's a fork in that road where you're like, I don't know if this is going to work. And I'm usually a power through.
Yeah.
Like let's power through to the end and figure it out. But if you have people with you that are not power through people, like if the artist is not really a power through, then you have to relinquish it and let it go, because the vibe will turn. It'll turn. If you start getting into corporate America, like let's get this done, some artists are just like, I'm not feeling this, and some people will speak up and be like, yeah, I'm not really feeling that. Let's figure something else out. I recently been in a session where we were cooking up for a artist and the direction hadn't been completely solidified. So the A&R would come in and be like, nah, go to the next one, and it's like, oh, okay, gotcha. Even though those ones that we're working on I will definitely finish those and they will go to somebody else, but it wasn't the direction that the person was looking for. So, if everything is always usable.
How about you got me thinking about this A&R stuff, man. Like just growing up in a world of A&R, kind of hit and miss. A&R is a very, it's a hit and miss job. You get, how have you ever, I guess, produced something and like it worked for another artist that this other artist didn't want. You know what I'm saying? And that stuff didn't work out. And you like, I told you, should have took this record.
Yeah, it's happened. It's happened before. Matter of fact, it was at the brink of almost happening for this record that's out now.
Okay.
By Major. And it's like number one added to radio now. But we were at a point where he was like, nah, this is not gonna be it. And I was like, and this is one of the times that I was like, I'm sticking to this. It got kind of awkward for about 2 hours. And I was like, this is the right one. I don't know where you're going, but this is right. And now he's like, yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, you were right. You were right. That was the right one. And I was like, okay. So sometimes you got to stick to your guns. Like, no, this is it. You know. And it gets awkward because people are like, oh, we're not moving on. And if you're like the producer, you have carte blanche to be like, I'm not doing anything else, and we'll just sit here and talk. We'll just talk about life. And as soon as we finish talking, I'm gonna play this again. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna chop it up. Yeah.
So how has it been now? I guess because like we've been there when it was I would say less artist control or even producer control. This A&R label, this is what it is. When you're in the studio with these artists, do you feel now like the artist actually can kind of veto the A&R and be like, nah, me and Scott feeling this? How's that environment now when you're working with such big names?
Okay, so there's a give and take because the A&R has their opinion, and it goes pretty far, but the artist still has their right to be like, hey, you know, I'm not feeling this at all, and then they have to regroup on it, and maybe come back to the table on something. Because sometimes, I recently had a whole studio session, a girl on Atlantic, and we're working. Track is exactly where it needs to be, composed right. Took a little borrowing because I knew that the artist like this particular artist, like another artist, so I used some of that other artist's stuff.
Yeah,
going well. That artist is now writing to the record with another writer. Awesome, they're going well. When I listen to what they're writing to, and I'm like, oh, this is very esoteric. This is very like narrow. And like some of the things, the jargon that you're talking about, or the wording you're saying, I don't know if a lot of people are going to understand it, but we're going to keep on going your way. The A&R came in, heard it, and was just like called me out to the kitchen area. I was like, this not going to work. Like that person's on their last leg at the label, you know, and we need a hit, and that writing is not going to work. You're going to have to let her know that we have to move this into another position or figure it out. And there was another A&R that was like, no, he shouldn't be the one. You're going to have to go do it yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Because that now I have a bad reputation with the artist because the artist will look at me crazy. So yeah, I came in, I did some groundwork, like, let me hear it, you know, and it's like, okay, can we keep this and this and this, you know, those things, like this is nice and that's nice, this is dope. So it was, and then it was like, you know, compromise, like, can we keep this, try to use that? And then the A&R came in and was just like, yeah, this is not gonna, like, she came after I started to do the groundwork and was like, no, this is not gonna work because and then we had to kind of convince that the A&R, like, hey, let's blend those things together, which worked for the record, but it definitely, the whole session, it was that artist started crying. It was not.
Yeah. I've been in some wild sessions, man.
It wasn't good.
I've been in a session, and oh man, I'll tell you off camera who it was, but I've been in the session and A&R came in, and this was like, yo, this is terrible, yo, this is trash, yo, turn that off, like that vibe to artists, well-known artists, and to then the artist friend was like, yo, F that, yo. Like now this the friend does it. F that, yo. Just go in the booth and freestyle the whole thing. And I was just like, that's not good advice. Like this dude here is in charge of everything. He's telling the artist is not good. You basically amping your man up. You know what I'm saying? To clash with him. So I was like, man.
Having people around that are not sober thought. Yeah, it's a bad thing because you can have you throw it all the way off on like that person. Your friend has no result. Your friend don't got any result. The A&R got a result. That's why the A&R is there.
Yeah, so I thought that was it was awkward, like you said. It can get awkward.
It get awkward. Yeah, you'd be like, oh, yeah, the vibe is completely gone. I'm like, you got to sometimes you got to get that off you.
So being that you know how to play instruments, right? Do you find it like very important nowadays? Like you need to know how to play an instrument, or if you just have a good ear? Because some people, they can tell people what to play. I've seen that too. I've seen some of the famous producers, they don't know how to play nothing, but they know what they want to hear. So it takes a little time to get to it.
Yeah. It's about what you hear. It's about your ears and how you feel. It's that it elevates you to be able to play instruments, because then you can execute something without having to have somebody in between it. You know, it's like not having a mouse. Right. You know what I'm saying? You're able to just think to the computer, and the computer does what it needs to do. But sometimes you need to get somebody in between. So, and I play, but I still have my producers that can play. I bring up somebody that can play way better than I can, just because I know I want it to be executed in a certain way. So it just takes time to get to that point if you don't play. So it's like you're gonna have to, and shoot, from the beginning of my career, I play violin and piano, and violins on the actual keyboard back then sucked. So I was like, I'm going to sample these violins because I need to have the real sound.
Right.
And that's how I got into sampling. I was like, like, that don't sound like a real violin. I got to sample something. And now then I started getting into that. So sampling works. You got Splice nowadays. Splice got a lot of stuff on. I use Splice a lot.
Oh yeah, I learned the other day because I looked at now that the MPC can have the stems in it, like they updated the MPCs, and the guy used that, how you can Jermaine Dupri was raving about it, about how you can download from Splice into your MPC and it actually gives you all the stems separated, the sample. So that was like a big deal on the other day, and I was like, that's kind of ill, you know what I'm saying?
Nowadays AI is starting to get crazy with it.
Yeah.
So you can do a lot, and it's a tool. It's a tool that can be used for a lot of different things. So it's definitely if you know what to do with it.
Right. If you know what to do. I was thinking too, like I don't know if you know, at my school, I teach music production.
That's awesome.
I teach TV, film, and music production, man.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I might have to have you one day, just like maybe speak to the kids and stuff like that. It's middle school, but yeah, man. But I always try to tell them about, like, because some of them take piano, and then I have MPKs in the room. So it's still like, they're not really used to it, but the kids that know how to play piano, and I always tell them, like, to me, I think the most important instrument, you learn that piano, you kind of play everything, kind of, right?
Yeah, it's a good composition instrument, that and guitar.
And guitar, right? Mm-hmm. So I remembered when I watched Nas was doing, I think it was the Money record, and Trackmasters had somebody come in and play keys to play steel pan drums, and I was like, that was one of the first times I started saying, like, nobody at home knows that the real steel pan drum is not there. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that he had that piano skill allowed him to play all these other things.
It elevates you.
I thought that was interesting. So how do you when you got these beats, how do you decide? Like, do you got two people that want the same beat? You got this person that you're sending batches to?
That has happened before. That's happened before. And then it's who has okay, so sometimes more often than not is who's able to have the right budget for it. That's
okay.
To be real with that one. Other than that, if it's not the budget and they say that it's the same thing, the same type of budget for it, and they're both willing to pay, then it's about like what works for that artist. Like what beat is gonna work better for what artist? Like what suit? Who's gonna wear it better? Who's gonna wear the suit?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask, Scott. Like, if two people got the beat, is it typically two people with the beat with your song written on it? Is two people with the beat and they each wrote their own song, and now you're like, I don't like that song they did,
It has happened both ways.
Okay.
It has happened both ways. I remember early on in my career, two people wanted one record. I think it was Maya and this other artist I was working with. And Maya wanted the record, and the other artist was actually my sister Keshia Chanté. She wanted the record. And I was at the impression. I was like, okay, well, Maya gets it because she asked for it first. That's what I was in that zone. And I was like, Maya wants the record. We're gonna go that way. And then the label came and was like, we'll pay double for it. And I was like, okay, Maya doesn't get the record. I was like, yeah. I was like, Maya doesn't get the record, man. It has to go somewhere else. Sorry. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Because it was the president of Sony at that time who personally called me and was like, yeah, we're gonna get that record. I was like, yes, ma'am, you are. You're getting that record. Yes.
So being that time is money in the studio, you prefer the artist show up with the song written, or you want them to come there to write the songs with you? You want to be present?
It depends on it depends on them. So if it's their time. So if they're paying for the studio time, then I usually suggest them to have it already done, because then they're like, you can save money. I'm all for the artist. Like, you can save money.
Right.
Just come in and, have that joint written. If it's something where they're paying, already has the studio done, and the label has paid for it, and they're okay with like creating, then I think collaboration and truth from a conversation that happens in the actual studio is like one of the best things. It's very interesting. I've seen it happen a lot where something coming from a truth moves further. It just does. It just, for some reason, even if it's a truth that happened, it could be a truth that happened before you got to the studio, but it's something about being around another creative and them having a conversation and then started morphing that in. It becomes, I'd say more solid of a creative thing. It's something interesting from it. Unless the writer has already like come to that conclusion already that my truth is what's going to work, then I like to be in there to be able to guide them to that truth. Usually, sometimes but some people are just like, no, this is that is your truth.
I think you gotta be willing to listen as an artist. Like when I met y'all doing the idea stuff, y'all would do it. I pretty much was just kind of like alley-ooping stuff as I could. Mm-hmm. But like I trusted y'all and I just put my verse on it, but I trusted you to make the stuff. And just how important is that in the studio? Like that trust that you have to have when
Oh, that's super important. Because you got to have trust in the people that are around you. So because y'all are all on a journey, so it's like Lord of the Rings. Like they all had to trust each other to to get to the final result. So, you know, you always gotta trust your teammates and trust that they're gonna be able to do their job well, and then trust they'll be able to listen when you're like, oh, we got to make an audible here, you know, and they're like, oh yeah, well, that I can see that, you know, and just everybody try to get to the goal because everybody has their ways of getting to the goal.
Yeah.
But being able to be compromising and listen and being teachable is one of the better things to, you know, to get into a good result. You'd be like, and everybody like turns back, like, oh, that's all fire, that's fire. At the end of the day, everybody's gonna be excited about it if everybody has the idea of let's make this the best it can be.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the atmosphere when you're creating? Yeah, you like a whole bunch of people in the studio, nobody, nighttime, daytime. When do you like to work?
I'm a daytime guy. I like light. So if it's windows or something like that, I'm very much up for it. I like that type of vibe. If we could do it outside, I would do it outside. I love that. But there's this wild thing that there's a magic hour about around 3 a.m. in the morning, which happens. And it always happens like around 3 a.m. if you're in the studio at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. to 4, something like that. That happens. I think it's because your mind gets unconscious with like worrying about what's going on during the day, so it's kind of freer. But yeah, I like during the day. It's most my energy's up, and I like
Do you think
I like a moderate amount of people?
Do you think your routine, like me catching you and you're like, yo, I'm coming from the gym, I'm working out, plus you like doing it in the day, does that like kind of lead into a schedule that makes you want to do music? The workout, I got my workout in. Are you like a scheduled person? That's why?
Yeah, I like getting my mind, body, and soul together.
Yeah.
It's because I have to deal with different energies at the same time, and I have to guide those energies across whatever river we're trying to get across, or whatever lake we're trying to go. And me being the captain, I have to have a lot of patience with different creatives. So sometimes the creative process is like herding cats, and it's like you know what I'm saying. It's like you have And so people have their, you know, how cats are, they have their own idea of where they want to go. It's like, so you have to really like kind of be in tune with that and be empathetic to people's energies and trying to get them across the finish line. And you can't pull them across. That's no fun.
Yeah, I think that's from me saying from knowing you and being around you, I would say that's one of like the dope thing about you. Easy to talk to. You make a suggestion, you know, questions and suggestions, and you know, so like that leadership skill is there. So I think that helps with your success because you know you're able to lead the crew. You know what I'm saying? Quarterback it and be like, you know, let me fix that. We can do this. This is better, and this and that. And it doesn't sound like you're trying to tear anybody down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like,
I try not to do that.
Yeah, this is, I think if we do this will make it better. And then everybody's kind of game with you to try it. So as you've been making these records, how do you balance the integrity of this commercial stuff and, you know, not wanting to seem like it's selling out, or like, how do you balance the integrity, you know, of like the songwriting process?
Facts. I literally think once you come from, I'm gonna say it again, once you come from a truth, from whatever storyline that you're coming from, then whatever we're gonna make after that is authentic because it's coming from who you are. Even if it's a Katy Perry, you know what I'm saying, 4 to the floor record, if it came from her life story, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good, like, it's how you, what do you revere as, you know, integrity, and what do you revere as and I revere more of a truth of what that person is going through. And then whatever that person is going through is going to attach to somebody else because somebody else has probably gone through what they've gone through. And then whatever suit that you put on top of that is just a suit on top of a person who is the truth. So it could be a, you know, pizzazz joint. It could be a slick down suit. It could be a leather suit. It could be, you know, whatever it is, as long as it's completely truthful about what's going on, you know, I don't think it's selling out. I'm like, it's just
yeah, I know what you're saying. So
yeah,
because I talk to people all the time from all genres or whatever, and you know, there was, you know, 90s was definitely backpack commercial pop. Like it really was, it was more divided than now. Now it's kind of like, yo, just do your thing. Yo, people are collaborating with each other you never thought. Or
yep,
you would like, let's just say like Taylor Swift might be a fan of a Tyler the Creator, and they don't like, people aren't really before it was restrictions. Yo, you can't get on that record with that person. This person ain't get on that record. Even the labels would shut it down. Now it's more like, yo, you in the city? I'm coming through.
Let's see how it works. Let's work. Let's link up.
Let's link up, right?
Let's link up and see what's going to work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been more free with that. So how did you get to that point of just like, yo, I'm just here to make music, as opposed to like, my boy said, yo, that's not real rap. That my boy said don't like that singing. My girl don't like her how she sing. You know, like that girl. She don't like that girl how she sing. Not her the artist, but don't like that girl how she sing and so on. You know.
Yeah. So how do you say? How do we get past that, or how
did you come to that? Because you know, Scott, there was a point when it was very kind of divided. And then you still like commercial. We always like commercial. I don't care what side you on. You like some commercial, but once you start producing, you run into people that are only doing this, and then you got. You're like,
it's a small faction now. Like it used to be big.
Yeah,
now, like you said, it's definitely smaller. It's definitely small, and it's super. It's about taste. So, like. I work with BJ Chicago Kid a lot.
Okay.
His taste is a pristine taste in music. Like it's soul, but he's just got finished doing a commercial type of like soul record with Yeti, who's Yeti Beats is Doja Cat's producer. So you have Doja Cat's producer producing a whole album for one of the soul acts, one of the largest souls at X, which is BJ.
Right.
And that collaboration came together well. You know, there were points in it was like, okay, that might have been contentious, but it automatically all together, everybody was trying to get to the same goal. So it's like, the taste is, how do I explain it? It's a smaller sect of taste that is that a few still use in like soul music, and because there's a certain way that you do soul music.
Right.
Like it's just a certain way, and it has to have certain elements that make it soul music, which make it truthful to what soul music is. Like they went to Al Green's studio to record the album. That's a taste to get the same vibe that was going on with Al Green. That's a taste. Like, you know, and not too many people know what that taste is. They'd be like, oh no, we can just make this in LA. It's like, no. Go down to Al Green's studio. Find the actual Coke bottle, wooden Coke bottle thing that he stomped on. Get that. Like that is, I think this is authenticity. It's like trying to find that kind of authenticity, not just being like, oh, you know, this is not real. It's find the real, what it means to have the authenticity, not just like, what is the history of it?
Right.
You know, that's when you get into the like arguments. If you don't understand what the history is, because if you understood what the history is, you're like, oh no, I should use the MPC 3000 for this joint. If I try to do a Dilla, like, how specific do you want to get to? Like,
yo,
you know,
you read my mind. You read my mind.
Use the Roger Lynn joint. Use the Roger Lynn version. You try to do Dilla again, then go do your research and do Dilla.
Yo, you read my mind. Let me tell you how crazy you read my mind, because I was just about to ask you two things. So the one, I'm gonna talk about Roger Lynn. I'm just going through looking up this MPC stuff the other day. Roger Lynn video came up. He got a new video showing him learning the MPC of today and talking. And he invented a new instrument. He got his own new instrument he invented. This is like recently
crazy.
That showed him. And he was like, if you don't know who I am, I used to have my name signed on the MPCs. So that's kind of wild. I saw that the other day. But you speaking about like the Dylan stuff, I was thinking Common and Pete Rock did an album now, and they're like everywhere nationally, like touring, Jimmy Fallon and everything like that. I feel like a lot of those artists that we know and grew up, because Common had success with Kanye and stuff like that. But I feel like what's dope I see is that artists are getting to a point that they're so successful that they can actually just go make a record with.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? Because I don't know if it would have been, they would have been able to do that record. You know what I'm saying, Scott?
I love it, man.
You know that they wouldn't have been able to kind of probably do that record some years ago, right?
Now that you all the chains have been broken and all the you have enough, you're not beholden to anybody for capital. You can just do love projects and
and you just drop it because everybody's financially stable. So it's like,
it's like now I don't gotta worry about it. You got Hit Boy and doing Nas' album. It's like, and
I could go to Jimmy Fallon where the roots are. That's gonna be able to. So it's like all those people that had problems with the majors are actually kind of in place now to actually help the purity of the music, but also the commerciality of it too at the same time. 100%. So I got two more questions.
Everything.
Mm-hmm. So how do you know when the song is finished? So and it's ready to go? Is that like I know of course like what an AB is, like different mixes and loud, turn that up and all that. What's your way of saying I'm with it? That's it.
So okay, this is a thing. Sometimes I know I can get it to 80%, where I'm like 80%, the song is finished, and then everything else from that point is just me nitpicking, which I can get to 100%, but I don't think there's a such thing as 100%. I can't I think this is a threshold of we've gotten it to this point. We need to get it to where it needs to. We can elevate it by mixing after that. But it's always going to be, for me, it's always going to be something that's like, I could have done that. I wish I had this person. I could have brought a horn player into this joint too. It's just like forever going.
It's forever, right? It can be forever. And then if you play it for somebody else, right? They can be like, yo, such and such would sound ill on that.
Yeah, you should probably do this. Oh, that joint would be crazy. But if I can get a general do you like this record? And that joint dope. Okay, so we believe it's dope. So it's a threshold of it's dope. All right, cool. Because it could be like, I don't mess with it. Excuse me. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
We need to fix it then. And then that means it needs to go back to the drawing board. Like right now, I'm about to go down to a session and I cut the record. Record is fire, and I'm listening to it. I'm like, we got to cut it again. I have to cut it again. The lyrics, sometimes it's inaudible in some of the joints, so you can't hear it. So you need to hear the lyrics. So I got to get them cut again. So today I'll be reworking on something I worked on to 2 a.m. yesterday.
Yeah.
Today, you know what I'm saying? Because I listened back to it. I'm like, it's not done yet.
And how are you listening back? Are you doing straight AirPods, over the head earphones, or are you doing car? Because a lot of people, car is kind of usually like that tester, and then
that tester, because you can feel it. It's a different type of feel.
I don't know if you ever been to Sony Studios back in the days. They actually used to have a model car on the bottom floor, and you could actually close the door like you're in the car to test it, so you didn't have to go outside.
I've been to Sony Studios. I didn't even know they had that there.
Yeah, crazy. That was kind of.
Saying that Chucky Thomas had that down in DC.
Oh, what you said, Chucky Thomas?
Yeah, he had one. I remember somebody telling me he had one in his studio in DC. Yeah,
I thought that was ill, man. To kind of just build something like that. So all you had to do is just walk down the hall, you sit there and it's ill. You know, you got a seat across from you, and y'all close the door, and same acoustics, and you're like, oh man, we gotta go back, and you just open the door and go down the hall. So I thought that was always ill, man. So yeah, I thought that was kind of crazy.
That's ill.
Being able to have that.
That's ill to have it because that you can't beat that feeling.
Yeah. So I would think I was at in a car. So do you drive out there, or you kind of more so?
I'm usually Ubering, so
Right.
I'm an Uber guy. But I do it. The little AirPods are good for me.
Okay.
Sometimes I do it, and I'll go back into. I have a home studio and another studio I work out of as well that I'll test it on. But it's usually these. It's usually these because most people are listening to it in their headphones like this or their phone. So using that, not too many people have like a sound system situation.
Right.
So it's like usually people listen to their AirPods. So this is what if it sounds good on these, we are really in it. Or they sound good without these on it coming from my phones. Really, really good.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like if you sit on a mastering session, they got the small ones that they trying to get the idea from there, and then they got the gigantic one. Sitting in a mastering session, you could be, man, that's hours. It could be hours. I remember I did it one time. I was like, I don't never need to be here again. Like, it's kind of crazy.
I've been in a mastering session. I've been.
Yo, it's serious. So what's the studio stuff you would recommend? I guess some that you use or people to get if they're home or whatever the case. What are like the main studio things you need?
I would say get a laptop. I would probably go with a Mac. I usually go with a Mac. Get a laptop. Get Apollo ADD converter or interface. I'm old school, so I say ADD converter. It's hilarious. You get a Apollo. Get some. I like the Yamaha. The 8s are good, and the 5s are good. And I would do like if you can get a nice mic, get U87. It's kind of top tier, but there are other Neumann mics that are pretty much that you can pretty much use. That are good. And actually, Warm Audio has some good stuff too. That's new. Shout out to Warm Audio. They can, go ahead and sponsor me on that one. And what is that's and and a good MIDI keyboard. Something that you can interface you can pretty much go through.
So man, social media, man. What's your handles and everything?
Oh man, you can follow me at iRobotScott. That's on Instagram, and at Triangle Park Music is the production company. So you can follow that as well.
Dope, man. Well, Scott, I appreciate you being here, man. I know you do so much music, and now we got a time difference and all that. You got a lot going on, man. So I appreciate you, man. Just seeing the growth, being motivated by your growth and inspiration.
Oh, man. Thank you, man. Thank you, bro.
Appreciate
it, man.
Because it's cool to like watch it, knowing that there was a grind to it. Sometimes people don't know that. They just see you doing it and be like, how you just get that?
Yeah, but you've seen it.
They think it's out of nowhere, but I've witnessed it, man, and it's great, man. Yeah, man, thanks again. And to everybody out there, I always end it like this, Scott. To them, I just asked them, what are your words worth? Peace. Yeah, man.